Sri Ramana Maharshi's teachings. What is surrender? How to do it? A conversation. Visitor. I pray for a message to keep me up when I am away from the Master. Maharshi. The Master is not outside you as you seem to imagine. He is within. He is, in fact, the Self. Recognize this truth. Seek within you and find Him there. Then you will have constant communion with Him. The message is always there. It is never silent. It can never forsake you, nor can you ever move away from the Master. Visitor. I am a partner in an engineering firm, but it is not of vital concern to me. I try to bring spiritual ideals into the workaday life of the firm. Maharshi. That is good. If you surrender yourself to the higher power, all is well. That power sees your affairs through. Only so long as you think that you are the worker, you are obliged to reap the fruits of your actions. If, on the other hand, you surrender yourself and recognize your individual self as only a tool of the higher power, that power will take over your affairs along with the fruits of actions. You are no longer affected by them, and the work goes on unhampered. Whether you recognize the power or not, the scheme of things does not alter. Only there is a change of outlook. Why should you bear your load on the head when you are traveling on a train? It carries you and your load, whether the load is on your head or on the floor of the train. You're not lessening the burden of the train by keeping it on your head, but only straining yourself unnecessarily. Similar is the sense of doership in the world by the individuals. Another conversation. Maharshi. The present difficulty is that the man thinks that he is the doer, but it is a mistake. It is the higher power which does everything, and the man is only a tool. If he accepts that position, he is free from troubles. Otherwise, he courts them. Take, for example, the figure in a temple tower, Gopuram, where it is made to appear to bear the burden of the tower on its shoulders. Its posture and look are a picture of great strain while bearing the very heavy burden of the tower. But think, the tower is built on the earth and it rests on its foundations. The figure is a part of the tower, but is made to look as if it bore the tower. Is it not funny? So is the man who takes on himself the sense of doing. Another conversation. Maharshi. In sleep, you are centered within. Simultaneously with waking, your mind rushes out, thinking this, that, and all else. This must be checked. It is possible only for the agent who can work both within and without. Can he be identified with a body? We think that the world can be conquered by our own efforts. When frustrated externally and driven internally, we feel, oh, there is a power higher than man. So, the existence of the higher power must be admitted and recognized. The ego is a very powerful elephant and cannot be brought under control by anyone less than a lion whose very look makes the elephant tremble and die. The lion is no other than the Guru in this instance. We will know in due course that our glory lies where the ego ceases to exist. In order to gain that state, one should surrender oneself, saying, "O Lord, you are my refuge." The master then sees, this man is in a fit state to receive guidance, and so guides him. Visitor: what is self-surrender? Maharshi: self-surrender is the same as self-control. Control is effected by removal of mental tendencies, which imply the functioning of the ego. The ego submits only when it recognizes the higher power. Such recognition is surrender or submission or self-control. Otherwise, the ego remains stuck up like the image carved on a tower, making a pretense by its strained look and posture, as though it is supporting the tower on its shoulders. The ego cannot exist without the power, but thinks that it acts of its own accord. Visitor: how can the rebellious mind be brought under control? Maharshi: either seek its source so that it may disappear, or surrender that it may be struck down. Visitor: but the mind slips away from our control. Maharshi: let it be so. Do not think of it. When you recollect yourself, bring it back and turn it inward. That is enough. No one succeeds without effort. Mind control is not one's birthright. The few successful ones owe their success to their perseverance. A passenger in a train keeps his load on the head by his own folly. Let him put it down. He will find that the load reaches the destination all the same. Similarly, let us not pose as the doers, but resign ourselves to the guiding power. Another conversation. A visitor asked Maharshi on yoga, surrender, and self-realization. Maharshi: Aurobindo advises complete surrender. Let's do that first and await results, and, if necessary, discuss further afterwards and not now. There is no use discussing transcendental experiences by those whose limitations are not divested. Learn what surrender is. It is to merge in the source of the ego. The ego is surrendered to the self, the being that always prevails. Everything is dear to us because of love of the self. The supreme power, the real self, is that to which we surrender our ego and let the self do what it pleases. The ego already belongs to the self. We have no rights over the ego even as it is. However, supposing we had rights over it, we must surrender them. Self-realization is only the removal of obstacles to the recognition of the eternal immanent reality.